So the next group up is Tatheer Ali, who will be presenting for herself, and Kajal Agarwal.
Morning, everyone. My name is Tatheer. I'm here on behalf of the BPAPM 4000 class in the Human Rights stream. So as part of our culminating degree, we end up taking a course that basically takes together all of the policy research skills that we've gathered over the past 4 years, and we focus on one issue. So our professor chose to focus on Indigenous rights within Canada as well as internationally, and we were particularly interested in child welfare policies in the 1960s. So the phenomenon that we looked at was 1960s child welfare policies, whereby the government would go into Indigenous communities and forcibly remove Indigenous children and have them adopted elsewhere in Canada as well as internationally. One of the most interesting cases that we looked at was of an Indigenous child from Canada who was adopted in Scotland, and only after they became an adult was able to return to Canada and re-engage with their Indigenous community and learn more about their heritage. So in order to do this, as policy students, of course, we research sort of the timeline around when this policy became enacted, the sort of politics around it, and why this was what the approach that the government took. And we were particularly interested in listening to a personal case of it, how it impacted one person, how it impacted their family. So we reached out to Coleen Cardinal, who is an advocate for this issue, as well as is creating a documentary about her experiences and the experiences of her colleagues. That's the poster for the documentary, and it's upcoming, so we highly recommend that you guys check it out. She's also advocating for the government to recognize this Indigenous policy, and it's a phenomenon known as the 60 Scoop, and she's actually been working to have the government recognize it as part of the Truth and Reconciliation efforts. So in order to help her, we created sort of a policy brief so that she could bring it forward when she did her advocacy. We also were really excited to hear her experiences, and when we presented our research, she sort of presented the human aspect of it, where she told us about her personal experiences, how it had affected her family, how her sister was part of the missing and murdered Aboriginal women, and how it had had an intergenerational impact just with her son itself. And so when we heard about these experiences, we felt that the Ottawa community at large deserved to hear this, and that more people need to become aware of this policy, because this is an issue we don't often discuss, and we often don't really understand the systemic policies which led to murdered and missing Aboriginal women. So as a class, we decided to collaboratively hold an event here at Carleton, where we invited the Ottawa community and Carleton students to come hear Colleen's experiences, to sort of hear about what it was like to be forcibly removed from her home, and along with her sisters, and how it was like to be amalgamated into a family with other children, and the experiences and the bullying and the trauma that she experienced. It was a very somber moment. It was a very deep conversation that we had as sort of a group. But I think it was an amazing experience to have someone come forward and to really shine a light on our research and to really make it tangible. As policy students, we sometimes get stuck behind sort of the words and the textbook of it, and we don't really recognize the impacts of these words that have such a widespread influence in Canadian society. And so it was just amazing to see how something so small can turn into something so much larger, and the systemic policies that have formed after. We also really enjoyed being able to engage with another community partner. And so I guess our advice to other students who are looking to engage in community partnerships would be to ask. We didn't really realize how many people were excited and interested to work with us. We didn't know that if Coleen wanted to share her experiences. It is quite a serious topic, and yet she was so excited that we were even interested in the topic and that we wanted to shed light on it and do policy research for her. So for other students, I would say ask if there's something you're interested in. Reach out to groups. We were really, really surprised by how many people came out to our event and how many people were really excited to hear about it, and they were surprised to hear about it. So yeah, that would be our concluding advice.